Welcome back. I'm Shally from the block. I really thought that cold open was gonna go better than it did. That was bad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna really have to bring the heat for the rest of this video, right? Okay, we're gonna talk about Jennifer Lopez's possible split that's looming from Ben Affleck. What's going on here? Kind of a bunch of things. Well, I'm gonna break down some of the gossip that's going on because we're hearing everything from like house hunting, they're house hunting separately, and we're gonna talk about maybe it's actually the smartest thing ever to live apart from your husband. Is it? I'm gonna talk about the pros and cons of living together. I've done it, you know, I was married and I semi-lived with another boyfriend. I can tell you from being a few miles down the road from that, I obviously wanna know what you guys think in the comment section, if you've been through this and whatever. But we're also gonna talk about another issue that might be dooming their relationship, which is Ben, according to sources, really did not want their relationship to be all that public. And we're gonna unpack why. We're gonna unpack why this is kind of an unfair thing for him to say. But is Jennifer being fair to him? There's a lot to learn because I think the last video we did on Jennifer was about her, what would you call that thing? Like a rock opera that's on Amazon Prime called This Is Me Now, or This Is, I don't get it. I don't get it. But it was like this whole like rock music story thing about her addiction to love and dating and always wanting to find the one. And I personally was very, very moved and triggered by that, like very much. And there was one line in there and she's like, people think, you know, people like me who always want to be in love and everything, they think we're weak. Do you have any idea how much strength it takes to keep going? To pick yourself back up and hope? Jenny, you got me. You got me good, girl. You got me good. And I just kind of want to talk about Jennifer in general because people are saying she's in her flop era. Is she? We're going to break it all down. But before we do, Italy is here. Well, it's not. It's in a different place and the trips don't start yet. But the Italy trips are on sale. You guys, we have 2 trips to Italy this fall. We have the Amalfi Coast in early September, and we have Rome, Tuscany, Florence, so basically the major Italian cities and all the cultural sites, a month later in early October. I am so excited for these. I've been like putting them together meticulously, working with the different travel companies. These are new travel companies that we're working with. It's not Trova anymore. And they are a much higher class of experience. And I can just talk about them all day. This is a chance for you to do a few different things. First of all, travel. At our age, I mean, honestly, at any age, it's hard to get people to take it off the group chat. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's like, yeah, let's plan a trip. But by the time you coordinate their schedule, maybe their boyfriend or husband's schedule, work, blah, 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 finances, that's its own situation. And then you have to all agree on where you're going and how you want to travel and what you want to see. You don't have to do that with me. You can look at the itinerary and you can say, great, guess what, sweetheart? It's all planned. All you gotta do is show your hot ass up, plan your outfits, get your Pinterest board. Just kidding, I have Pinterest boards for you. And just come. And you might be like, oh, I don't wanna go like by myself. You're not traveling by yourself. You're actually gonna be traveling with your 11 new best friends. Everybody who comes on these trips that I've ever hosted, they literally leave bonded for life. People are still in the group chats from trips 2 years ago. They visit each other. Like, I mean, one girl got married. There were a bunch of girls at the wedding. Like, it is a whole bonding experience. So if you need to make friends, maybe this is the first time you're gonna make like adult friends. And not just the people you kind of grew up with and whatever. People who are gonna make you better because we're all alpha females. People are going to support you because if you like me and you watch this channel, you're part of a girl gang. Like you love building up other chicks, you're a hype person. Plus you get to hang out with me. Like I said, everything's planned, everything is nice, a high level experience. And you're gonna have something to look forward to all summer. Like how sick is that? Plus if you book and pay for all of these trips, well, not all of it. Plus, if you pay up front for the trips, you get a free one-on-one 30-minute Zoom with me, and we can talk about the trip, we can plan outfits, we can talk about love, career, whatever you want. We can just bro out for 30 minutes. So click the links down below, 2 different links for the 2 different trips. Check them out, see which one fits your vibe. These are super limited, you know, they're a small group, okay? I want this to be a very high level curated, beautiful experience for you guys. Okay, JLo. Yeah. Now, I do think I need a bit of an I told you so moment here, because I love an I told you so moment. I did call this relationship. I remember exactly where I was. It was 2021. I was in Palm Springs, just literally trying to live my life for 5 minutes. Nope, Jennifer Lopez would not let me. She broke up with A-Rod, and they were engaged. And I said, I bet you dollars to donuts she will get back with Ben Affleck, because he is a hurt locker. He is an embodiment. He's like a portal back in time to when life was perfect. Her fame was at its height. I mean, her body was banging. It still is, right? Life just stretched out in front of her, fresh and new and full of sparkling possibilities, you know? And I'm sure she imprinted on Ben, like I said, as a time machine to that time. I'm like, she is feeling very bad about herself, cast aside, old, used up. She's none of these things. But that's how anyone feels, you know, when a long-term relationship ends. You're like, just kind of like, bleh, like spat out into the world. I'm like, she's gonna go back to where she thinks she can recapture her youth. And I was right. I personally love them together. I love this. I love the stories of rekindled romance. If you're in the Shallon, you know why I'm saying this. I just broke up with someone who I really think, don't do this here. I really think is my soulmate. Oh, wow. Okay. Just, here we are. I'm fine. I'm fine. But he, the time is not right. The timing is not right. We both have some growing up to do, honestly. I can sit here and say that I am perfect. I would appreciate it if you also said that about me. That'd be great. Thank you. Feel free to fill up the comment section. But yeah, the timing is not it. And it just is wow, okay. I've been looking my whole life for this person and the timing is wrong. So if you would like to share your stories of rekindled romance, I would really, really like that. Please, can you do that? Can you do that for me? That really made me happy. So perhaps I am at this moment inordinately invested on seeing Jennifer Lopez and Ben stick it out. I don't know. Maybe a little bit. I do root for them though. I think that they share a bond that not a lot of people in Hollywood can. I mean, they've really been through it together. You know, I don't know. I love them together. I think that they're great. And yeah, like I said, her thing on that rock opera really, really spoke to me. But what did stick out in that is the plot line is a woman is trying to basically overcome her love addiction. Jen is telling her own story, and in it she goes to Love Addicts Anonymous, right? And then she's like, we're done with dating. I'm doing me. I'm focusing on myself. I'm being alone for a minute. And it's you look at that and you have to laugh. It's girl, did you do that? I don't think you did. When did you do that? When? Yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't remember her being you know, in her dream catcher, Eileen Fisher, single woman celibate phase. I don't remember that. I remember going from A-Rod to Ben Affleck, pretty fast. So it's interesting she made that movie and went on this journey that she herself maybe did not actually go on. Maybe she did, but the math ain't mathin'. And here's the problem. She followed it up with a documentary about how she made that rock opera and how she self-funded it, and it was really this labor of love and from the heart, and which by the way is a deeply terrible financial decision. It's just crazy it worked out because bad idea. But it was also the story of her and Ben getting back together. Okay, we have to pause. Right there we have to tee out. Apparently sources say that one of the big issues between Ben and Jennifer is that she wants to be much more public and demonstrative than he does. He's kind of a low-key guy. He's the Boston guy. What are you, fucking queer? You know, one of the Boston guys. Duncan, like, I love how a really shitty coffee chain is like the center point of his personality. I love this for him. And she's like a flashy, showy person. She's a narcissist. She's a classic narcissist. I don't think she's an evil person at all. I think she's a bad bitch. I love her. But she is a narcissist. She relies on that outside person to fill her up. And she does not know who she is without that. You know, even in the documentary, one of her managers or something is like, she kind of lives for likes. She does. Like, she has to put things out there. She stresses about it. Like, she does not have a very thick skin about this business she's in, which is crazy because it's been so long. I mean, she's obviously pretty tough if she's lasted this long, but no, she takes a lot of things to heart. And therefore, this is a big divide between the two of them. So he, I guess, requested, or nay, possibly demanded, that their relationship, if they were going to do this time, was going to be really low pro. Because if you go back to the late 90s, early 2000s, when this was happening and everyone was wearing belly chains and pants so low you could see everyone's labia, that was what doomed them. I mean, if you weren't around then, I remember it. And the coverage around these two was relentless. Relentless. I mean, paparazzi chasing them like for just random shots of them like holding coffee and like, it was fucking crazy. It was crazy. And that pressure really, they kind of cracked underneath that because maybe Jen was courting it a little bit more. And maybe Ben was like, this is actually not what I signed up for. If you and I are coming along, like if this fishbowl will be the price of admission to this relationship, I cannot do this. I can't do this. They don't go into that too much in the documentary, but I got the subtext that was kind of what it is. And it's ironic that we hear about this issue of the fishbowl in a documentary. Big fan of irony, are we, Jennifer? And so if Ben requested that this is a more low pro thing that they're going to do, you know, I cannot imagine that documentary sat well. Did you see it? The Ben Affleck thing? Jennifer took all of the love letters that he had written her, which, by the way, a love letter? Is there anything better in this world? If you have not had a man write you a love letter, that is the next thing you ask him for. Fuck the flowers, fuck the social media posts. Pen and paper, write it down. I still have all of the love letters men have given me, and they do give them to me. I think because I'm a writer, they know that it's like, okay, she's gonna geek on this, and I do. They mean everything to me. And he wrote her lots. And this is when like no one was really like texting all the time. Like, you wrote love letters, like you still did. She gave those to the producers, the director, the writer, and like he didn't know that. And he's talking about it with like, yeah, I was like, what? What? He was being a very good sport about it. I mean, that's such a violation. If you know, I know that he's a private person. Why do I know that? And you don't? You're his soulmate? Why? That to me kind of says it all. That to me encapsulates their relationship. She is willing to cannibalize the specialness between them to make something public. Not in a nefarious way. She's a showy person. She wants to show off in how she feels. Is this healthy for a relationship? I don't know that it is. If a man is like, hey, can we keep this a little off social media? Do you think maybe you could extend that line of logic and be like, don't give the love letters he wrote when he was like 25 to a crew at Amazon? I mean, can you buy them? Is it available on Prime? Can I get Ben Affleck's? Is like a monthly subscription service I can do? I get one Ben Affleck love letter a month. Maybe a week. I don't know. How many do you write? So that's problems. That's problems for them. And I bring this up because I think now in this day and age, there's a lot of us who are Ben and Jens, where one of us is much more demonstrative and showy. Let's be honest, it is going to be the girl. It's going to be the girl. And the guy is like, I'm a little bit more low pro. Let me tell you something right now. If the roles are reversed, if you are dating a guy who wants to be all the fuck up on social media all the time, and he's posting like, what's up, fam? Just your boy here telling you to rise and grind it up. Do not let that man touch your genitals. Do not be any place that man is. Do not let him in your house. That is a gross person. Social media is for the girls. Social media is for girls. It's for girls. Every guy I date, they're like, I'm actually like not on platforms. I hope that's okay. I'm like, is it okay? It's not a deal breaker. That's a deal maker. And I always say, I was like, social media is for girls. Like, I don't want to see guys posting a lot. It creeps me the fuck out. Like, unless it's an integral part of your business, like you're like a personal trainer, you got to post it. If you're just a guy and you're like power posting, I guess the exception is if you're like Gen Z, like a younger Gen Z. Like your frontal lobe hasn't closed. It's not an indictment on you. Like it's just like science. So you're still like figuring things out. But if you are like a full grown adult, no. So I'm addressing this to the girls. And you might be in the comments being like, no, my boyfriend's a social media guy. Okay. All right. Okay. You know what? Let's follow that thread. Let's pull on that. Let's say he's not like over posting, but he wants to post you a bunch and you're like, no, why? I think that's a little sus, girl. That kind of tells me you don't necessarily want to be associated with him in that public way. Are you worried it's going to trigger an ex that you still miss? Are you worried your family's not going to approve? Are you like, no, none of these things, but sit with that and unpack it, because that to me is a little bit sus. Like if he is just a normal dude posting normal things, why do you not want to be a part of that? Like, why do you not want to be publicly claimed by him? Remember, Steve Harvey has taught us that men do three things: protect, possess, provide. If you are encountering a man who will not do even one of those things, that is not your man. He needs to protect you, possess you, not in like a Harrison Butker kind of way, but like, that's my woman. He claims you and provides for you. Doesn't need to pay all your bills, but he's paying the bill when y'all go out to Applebee's. Texas Roadhouse, he's got it. And I don't know, let him pay your bills. Fuck it. You should be able to pay your own bills, but he should also be able to pay them. Doesn't mean he has to, but he should be able to. Anyway, it's a different conversation. If you don't want to be claimed by him, why? And what if he doesn't want to be claimed by you? Now, there's a difference between do not post me at all and I don't think we need to share every single thing we're doing on socials. It's one of those things that you really do, I think, need to take the time and negotiate. If anything, that should be almost the only thing you negotiate. You don't need to sit down and negotiate finances at every stage or whatever, or how you're splitting the holidays. This is something that you need to get very, very clear on your partner's boundaries and not shame them for them unless they are sus. It's like, I literally never want to be claimed by you. You know, like, look at what's going on that's deeper. This is obviously a problem I have given what I do for a living. I have my own issues with posting guys that I'm dating because in the past, I have had deranged parasocial fans try to fuck my boyfriends. And honestly, I think some of them even succeeded. Like, I dated an absolute garbage person, so who knows? Like, good for you, girl, I guess. But I get paranoid about that. Like, I don't always want to tag the guy that I'm dating and have him suddenly get 500 friend requests. It's like, no, thanks. Please don't do that. So I will post somebody, but I won't always tag them. Or I'll refer to them obliquely, but like not by their actual name. But I have these conversations with someone like, hey, how much do you want to be featured? A lot, not at all. And whatever they say, I'm like, okay, that's valid. Because look, if a guy doesn't want to claim you, guess what? He's showing you that in way more categories than Instagram. That just might be the clearest writing on the wall that you might have to look at. But I guarantee you haven't met his friends. You're not really allowed in his house. You might think it's sweet that he's always coming to your house. Is that because you're not just allowed in his? He doesn't want you in his space? Girl, bye. There are other signs of this. But also ask yourself, why is it important to be posting him constantly? And I'm not saying that you are wrong for that. I mean, if you're in love, and I've always said, I hate Travis and Kourtney, but I love their love in a way. I mean, I hate them and I hate their love, but I love how in love they are. And I want that, like, I don't even care how cringe we look. I just got to shout it from the rooftops how much I love you. God, I'm in hell. Okay. So yeah, I get it. But these are parameters you have to come to like some sort of negotiation with. Because look, if you're going to have a long-term relationship with someone, there will be more of these negotiation points, whether it is finance or splitting the holidays or dealing with in-laws. Like, if you can't have these conversations, what kind of relationship are you actually in? Is it a mature one? I don't know. So let's pivot to now the next, I'm sorry, I can't stop fussing with my hair. I do this when it's straight. Let's pivot to the next peccadillo about Ben and Jennifer, which is they're house hunting. They are potentially house hunting now. Sources, I think her sources, because she's obsessed with controlling the narrative, are saying that like, she's just looking for an investment property, blah, 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 blah. Time will tell. When celebrities lie about breakups, it's like lying about a pregnancy. Like, do you not think eventually what's your plan here? I mean, I get it though. It's even just in our personal life, like you don't want to hard launch being together, and you don't want to hard launch a breakup when you're still just trying to figure it out. And you're maybe hoping things work out. I mean, they're people just like everybody else. And it's like, maybe she's doing everything she can to save it. Maybe he is. Maybe there's nothing wrong. But it brought up a good question about being together without being together in the same place. Let me tell you something. I know, let's say 20 of my friends are married. Out of those 20, I would say probably 18 want a different residence from their husband. And at this point in my life, because I'm like 300 years old, people have been married for like a good amount now. Like, I would say at the very outside, 7 years. Some longer, some maybe a little shorter, but so it's not like they're in the honeymoon phase, they're newlyweds. Like, no. And they've been together probably like 4 or 5 years before that. They done seen it all. And the women are like, I would love my own space. I'm not going to be getting a train run on me, okay? It's not like a fuck pad and cheating on my husband. It's actually the opposite. I don't want anyone in that space. It is a place where I can read and I can watch my shows, and if I'm gassy, that's fine. I just want to be alone, and I can have all the fucking closet space I want. And maybe I don't actually want to pick up after his ass anymore. And maybe he's going to see that's crazy. Dishes don't do themselves. Laundry doesn't fold itself. What? And unsurprisingly, none of the men will go for this. And I say unsurprisingly because you might think, I think our conditioning as women and what we hear culturally is like, women are the ball and chain. They always want to tie the men down, and men are just trying out, like they're trying to be out there just like fucking everything imaginable. Actually, I found it precisely the opposite. The anchors, the ones who want to just settle down, and not sowing their oats, those are the men. Men need a lot of sex. They do not need sex with a bunch of different people. Not that I found, unless they are a very, very toxic narcissist fuckboy. Like if they, outside of like a very certain pathology, no, if they're even worth dating, they're actually not that wild at all. They will have maybe a wild phase. Once that ends, the Iron Curtain, boom, slams shut, and they are like domestic. It's women who are like, whew. You know why? Because women fucking do more in a relationship. A man's quality of life vastly improves when he moves in with a woman. Vastly. Have you seen the sheets that men sleep on? It's like their mom buys them one set of sheets freshman year in college, and they literally never buy another set for the rest of their lives. Also one pillow. The flat pillow store, like this, I've eaten pizzas that are fluffier. It's insanity. You move in with a woman, suddenly everything smells good. There's colors that go together. Things are organized. I mean, yeah, what's not to like? And you get laid on top of it? Amazing. A woman moves out. One of my friends was dating a married man, girl I know, for years. And he had very young kids, as in a newborn when they met. I know. Believe me, I know. And he would always say, I can't get divorced because I would only see the kids half the time. I said, Allie, it is not that he would have to parent 50%. I said, Allie, it's not that he would see the kids too little, it's that he would suddenly be seeing them too much. Right now, he has to parent 10%. She's a stay-at-home mom. If they get divorced and he has them half the time, he is parenting 50%. He's done that math. He has to do 100% of his own dishes, 100% of his own laundry. Now he's doing 0%. His quality of life diminishes astronomically. And so when women get divorced, I watched this with several of my friends here in Bozeman, they get divorced and their husband, boom, remarries. I mean, within 6 fucking months, this dude is remarried. Why? He needs a new employee. He's done doing all the laundry. He's done cooking for himself. Like, let's get the replacement in here. And my friend is twisted because she's like, why haven't I moved on? I'm like, because your life is better now. Because your life is actually better. His got way worse. Yours got better. So of course you're not in a rush to fill that position. You, on some level, know that when you import a new man into your life, there will be a downshift of your quality of life. In some categories, in others it will go up, of course. In some, it will go down. You're gonna have twice as much laundry, twice as much dishes, twice as much meal planning. I mean, twice as much domestic motherfucking labor. So yeah, I get why women want their own place. If they're gonna be taking care of everything, shouldn't it be to their own specifications? You know? That's why I love living alone. And listen, some of the happiest times of my life, please, Shallon, don't start to cry again. I am just in a bad place right now. Some of the best times of my life was when I had just moved in with my husband. We weren't married yet, obviously. We were dating, and it was that nesting. Oh my God. It was so cool. I was so domestic. I was like baking all the time, and it was fall. We had moved in, and so that was like perfect. It's like the cozy season, and like, do you like these sheets? It was like, we were partnering. We were mating, and it was amazing. It really was amazing. It was. So it's not all gloom and doom when you move in with someone, but there's a lot that changes. And I know that living in New York City, many people moved in because it made sense. I mean, that's why we moved in. I lost my lease, my apartment got sold, and I was like, fuck. I was like basically gonna be out on my ass. And he was like, yes, move in with me. And financially, it made a ton of sense. Logistically, it made a ton of sense. Was it the best thing for our relationship? I don't think so. If I had had the money to maintain my own place, I think we could have taken it slower, gotten to know each other, made better decisions, and maybe either built a stronger marriage that would have lasted or avoided a marriage that didn't. But I didn't have the money to do that, which is why I always say financial freedom is the only freedom. Financial freedom is the foundation to happiness in your life. And it's not about buying the nice bags and this. It is about optionality. It's about choices. With no money, you don't have a lot of options. And the person with the money is making the decisions. Make absolutely no mistake there, sweetheart. Well, there's these sugar babies and they got their sugar daddy by the balls. No, they don't. No, they don't. We talked about this in the trad wife video. I mean, I can absolutely get the appeal of a trad wife. The downside is your husband owns you. It's more than a job, it's a plantation. Okay? Because when he decides to cut off the money, if he does, what are you gonna do about it? Take the kids? Where? With what money? Set up what apartment? With what money? The money he deigns to give you? Miss me with that. Nope. As much as it would feel good to be protected and provided for, I would sleep with one eye open. I could never rest if that was my circumstance. Never. If I don't have my own money, my own ability to make money, I don't care what kind of benevolent master you are. No. I would just not feel good about that. That's me. Some people feel absolutely fine. Cool. I don't. And I would caution you against that because you know what? The wind can change. And you can't change the wind. And you might not be able to change those situations if he's like, you're out in your ass. Or guess what? I'm fucking my secretary and she's going to move in. What are you going to do about it? That's what I thought. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. So my advice, let's think outside the box in terms of marriage. What do we have, a 60% divorce rate, 80? And you know, I love a divorce. I do. Not because I don't love love, I love love. I love people taking control of their life. And 70% of divorces are initiated by women. Yeah, because a man, they'll stay in it. They're getting laid. They're getting fed. They're stable. Cool. The woman is like, this is not working for me. So knowing that divorce rate, and you know the example I'm going to give, but I am going to give it. If 70% of planes crashed, fuck it. If 30% of planes crashed, would we not stop getting on planes and perhaps going back to the drawing board and being like, could we build a better plane? Why aren't we doing that with marriage? We never think to do that. We never think to do that. It's nope, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. A contract with the government? A judge has to tell you you're allowed to break up? Is this a joke? How about this? You go to lawyers, get engaged, get a ring, plan a wedding, do it. Don't get legally married. Go to lawyers and have them draw up a contract. You're going to sign a contract with the government either way. You're going to sign a contract. Great. You're going to have a contract with each other, not with the fucking government. You're going to have a contract with each other, delineating what the contract entails, what you need to do to get out of the contract, the longevity, all the ins and outs. You hammer that out. You walk down the aisle. You vow before God and your friends. You're married. You're married. Define this how you want. Maybe you don't live together. Maybe you have two houses on the same block. I have a guest house, and I have thought, like with my ex, because that's what he is now. He's a very independent person. So am I. Like, we are very much lone wolves. And I kind of had it in my mind. I'm like, I could see him being in the guest house, and he could like come here to the big house when we wanted our together time, but we would have our own space to just be. And again, it's not about like, that's his pussy palace. No, it's not. It's recognizing it is a way to physically embody and recognize the fact that he is still his own person. I am still my own person. And I might love you, and my soul has known you in lifetimes before, because I do believe that it has. But this soul and this body and this today recognizes that you are a whole, wild, wonderfully made person, and you might just need some space. And that doesn't mean you don't love me and we don't love each other. It actually might mean the opposite. What if it meant I respect you enough to know that just because we love each other doesn't mean you absolutely annihilate your identity and solipsize into me entirely, and there's no going back. And if you even fucking hint that you need space, it's going to be a fight. Maybe you can go on a girls' weekend to Sedona like once every 2 years. Cool. But that's about it. That to me is not necessarily love. That's ownership. That's low self-esteem. I don't know. I don't like that. I'm not saying that I would 100% never want to live with the next person that I marry or partner up with, who is hopefully the last person. But I am open-minded. I am trying to build a better mousetrap here. And this takes a lot of balls. A lot of balls, because society is always going to be like, you guys don't live together? Oh. And listen, I understand the logic behind that. You learn things when you live with someone that you will never know dating them. I don't care if you spend 6.5 nights a week at their house. It is different. It is different. First of all, when you maintain your own place, for as long as possible, let's say you're like, we're not living in the fucking guest house, fine. For as long as possible, you maintain, again, your optionality. You maintain the ability to get in an actual fight because you can actually leave and have an actual shelter. We're cavemen. We need to know, like, I have my own cave. Wars are fought over land. So when you maintain that pod of independence, you're more likely to stand up for yourself, to say things that bother you. And I mean, okay, the downside is you are maybe missing out on data that you would gain if you lived together. Because listen, I keep my house spotless when a guest is coming over. When I live here and it's just me, I'm like there's just things, you know, it's not filth, but their clutter accumulates. And I also have an issue with closing drawers. I did not know this about myself. And I don't know that this is a recent thing. I'm like, have I been doing this my whole life? No, because my mom would have been on my ass about it. And so would my husband. But yeah, I'll open a drawer, take the socks out, and I will not close it. It's chronic. And it shocks me. It would shock my boyfriend. He'd be like, what is with you in these fucking drawers, girl? I would not have an answer. I would not have an answer. And that might drive someone absolutely insane. And when you live with someone, it takes on a different gravity, because it's like, I'm going to have to deal with these drawers for the rest of my life. And like the walls start closing in. Those wet towels on the floor are for life. The way he leaves, you know, the spots around the grease around the burners on the stove, that's for life. Just kidding. I'm the one who does that. But if you have your own place, it's like, okay, that's just a quirk. And I don't have to deal with that for the rest of my life. I have the guest house. Or maybe I even have my master bedroom. I don't care how he keeps his bedroom. I'm not going in there. I have my own space. We have 2 masters in the house. I have my own space that I can retreat to for my own particular use. We can come together when we need to come together. But maybe that takes the pressure off. Maybe, because I think a lot of people, they become the bickersits. Like, they start sniping each other, and it's things like the drawers, the burners, the towels. What if that wasn't a thing anymore? Ideally, that would not be a thing, because you have a maid. You have a maid. You know, I think about the Kardashians. It's like, wow, their relationships must thrive longer and better because there's someone picking up after you. You know, that cuts down on so much domestic strife, I think. When my housekeeper comes, I am like, I'm just my best self in a clean house. Lasts for like 12 hours and then I've ruined it again. But what if you could replicate that somehow? What if you could try to just take those little domestic needles in your skin and be like, we don't have to live like this. We actually don't have to live like this. We can live in the same apartment building. You can live in the guest house. We can split our time. I don't know. What if we just expanded our mind a little bit? What would your ideal living scenario be? Mine honestly would be, I think, guest house. Because they're on the property. I can see you. Whose Jetta is in the driveway? I'm gonna blow it up. Is that a pink sparkly license plate frame? I'm setting that Jetta on fire. Not my guest house, because I own it. I don't know. Are you like, no, I want to live with someone, but I am definitely game for the idea of taking separate vacations. Like, yeah, vacations together, but also separate ones. Or I need my nights alone. I don't need to watch the same shows you're watching. No thanks. Is it as mild as I am going to book club every week. I'm going to this. I am having my girls' nights. You are not invited. Don't bug me. Don't ask when I'm coming home. Don't forget that you know me for 4 hours a week. Forget. Where is your sweet spot? And or is it very extreme? It's like, listen, I don't even need to live in the same town. I don't care if we're long distance forever. I can't do that because I'm a red-blooded American girl. I have needs. But for people who aren't, maybe that suits you just fine. Have you worked out a situation that is atypical but really works for you? I love hearing about these atypical scenarios. I love it because I love being a pioneer on these things. And like I said, building a better plane. If anyone gets to live like this, it's us. Like, it's us. We're the elites. We are. We are the 1% of the 1% in terms of hotness. Yep. Perky titties. Yep. Glossy lips. You know it. High level cognition, self-awareness, improvement, mindset, manifestation, all of this. No one is doing it like we are. No one. And no one is doing it as badassly, is that a word? Gracefully, lovingly, and with the most curiosity. No one is doing it like us. So guess what? We get to be the inventors of the new way of living. We get to be the architects of this. So let's build it. How would you build it? What would you do? What would you do? Would you be a perma fiance? Would you have the non-legal marriage and work it out with lawyers? Are you very traditional? You want a Catholic church, government contract, living together? I don't know. Tell me. And this is the thing. There is no wrong answer. That's what's amazing about it. There's no wrong answer. Whatever works for you. And I wish that is the mindset everyone would have. But it's like, all right, if this is what you want to be poly? Sounds like a horrible... Statistically, it's a horrible idea, but cool. Like, do you, whatever. If this works for you, you want to have sister wives? Amazing. Everyone's consenting. I don't fucking care. Have one weird, long, giant kitchen for like 30 kids. Doesn't bother me. No skin off my back. What would you do? What do you think is going to happen with Bennifer? I hope things are good with them. I root for them. What celebrity couple do you root for? Like, inordinately. And... like I said, if you have stories of rekindled love where somebody, both perhaps people needed to grow up, get out of their own way a little bit, I would love to hear it. Like, I would really love to hear it. Thank you. Like I said, Italy trips are live and available to book. If you have come on a trip with me, comment down below and tell people what it's like, you know? I'm telling you, if these trips weren't amazing, I wouldn't keep doing them. Like, it would just be such a headache for me to plan and go on. But they are so awesome. So if you feel this voice in your mind, it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. That is the right voice. That is the right voice. That is the voice so many girls on these trips have heard when they booked, and they look back and they're like, I am so glad I did this. It's so much more than travel. It's more than the Aperol spritzes. It's more than all the pictures, although we're gonna take a ton and bring a photographer on each trip. It's expanding your horizons, it's trusting yourself, it's leveling up your friendship, it's finding these supportive communities that you would have never had the opportunity to pull out of thin air, you know, without. And it's a lot of pizza and Nutella, I'm not gonna lie to you there. Okay, I love you guys. Sign up for the trips. Catch you next time. I'll see you later, Shalligators.